Hello, everybody. So, I'm going to go over the homepage. We're going to go over just the basics of the app, what's in it, what it has. So, it should be a quick run through for you. What you're looking at is the homepage. As we scroll down, you can see Maker Tools, Business Tools, Utilities, Help and Docs, and then all the sponsors, affiliates, and About Me type of stuff. So, the first thing at the top here, we have a favorites bar. And you can easily save anything to favorites. Say we want to do the epoxy resin calculator. At the very top, anytime you tap an app, you're going to see a home button that takes you back to the home. You're going to see a back button if you can go back one page at a time. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Generally, if it's not there, it means you just tap home because that's the only page to go back to. The heart right here that I'll tap is going to save this to favorites. And then we have documentation and settings. Now that's your nav bar that's always up there. Just kind of rearranges the icons depending on what you're looking at. So again, now you see epoxy resin up here, and we just tap it right from favorites and go right back. In the top right, you've got a question mark. That is your documentation. You can go through and just click on any of these to read about any of the features. It's going to tell you what it is, how to use it, tips on using it, and all sorts of great information. You can go right to unit conversions from within the docs. So it's usually just a one tap away from getting where you want to go. You don't have to keep going back and home every time. The settings, as we go through, we can switch Imperial to metric. Thank you so much for everybody overseas who has been giving me tips on how to do metric properly in an app like this. So it's been getting better and better thanks to you. The next is fraction precision. In the fraction calculator, you can have it round to the nearest 32nd or the nearest 64th. And if we switch to metric, that becomes unavailable, as you can see here. And in app preferences, you've haptic feedback for the fraction calculator. Quoting and invoicing, you can set terms and conditions, a business logo, business details, and custom fields, and that'll show up on all your quotes and invoices. Language and translations. Looks like I've got a little bit of work to do here, but we have a bunch of languages that most of the app is translated to, and you can select that here. You have your favorites list that we talked about. If you want, you can just quickly go through and set up a whole bunch of these as favorites instead of having to go into each app individually. Project statuses. You have all these different statuses for projects, and again, you can edit them, change them, add, delete statuses. You can totally customize it. Same thing for storage locations for your inventory. You can add locations within each location. You can add zones. If we go to inventory categories, these are all the different categories, which now you can change them. You can tap this little icon here, and you can see all the actual inputs. Rearrange the inputs, edit them, delete them, add new inputs. Create your own categories entirely with the add button here. If we go to custom stock profiles, this is for your dimensional cut list. Basically, there's all the nominal lumber that generally occurs in the world is there. You can add your own profiles to different things, and you'll get to know that a little more when we go over that, but just know that it's there. And then default category template. This is what automatically pops up when you create a new inventory category. It automatically gets all these things populated to it, and then you can decide at the top here whether or not it includes location and zone. Generally for inventory, you're going to want location and zone, but I guess it's there just in case you decide you don't for some weird reason. You can change currency. You can manage your data here, which again, everything is stored securely on your phone, so you can't actually access any of this typically unless you've rooted your phone because it's stored securely. In order to get your data, just hit export, and that's going to get all the non-media data. So if you've got shop journal items with voice memos and pictures, it won't save that, but it'll just save all the all the text-based data, and then you can re-import it. If you export with media, it exports it to a zip with all your images, and that's how you can now access your images, and you kind of control what you do with it from there on, and it has nothing to do with the app. But then you can re-import it with that same button. So if you delete the app, if something happens, you can come back and, your last time that you backed up your data, you can re-import that. You'll have recent updates. You can get a full update history. And so a lot of updates are going to come through the App Store, but between App Store updates, you'll get these patches where you'll see 2.12.1, 2.12.2. That third digit means that it's a patch. If it ends with a 0, you're going to get it through the App Store. If it ends with anything other than a 0, The next time you open your app, it's just going to automatically say, hey, restart, you've got an update, and you restart the app through the button, and it applies that update for you. Now, that's only going to be for easy front-end stuff that you see. It's not going to be anything that can possibly manipulate your phone or change any of the native code. Those have to go through the app stores, and those have to be reviewed by Apple and Google. And then at the bottom, you've got something about me, kind of tells you about a little bit of information, and then you can buy me a beer or support development. Those are different ways to donate to me, basically. And then down here is the big one, help me sand the rough edges. Tap that button if you come across any bugs, issues, if you have questions, if you have suggestions, if you have enhancements, new features, anything that you want to, go along with there. And just what I believe, a few bits of information there, why I want to keep this app free, why I want to keep it not collecting your data, why I don't want intrusive ads everywhere. So how are you going to see ads? That's a big important thing. Here's how I show ads. I bring on affiliate companies and I partner with them, and I make money when you click their links. So if we go down to the affiliate page, you choose to click affiliates. I'm not going to force you to ever go here. These are companies I love: Taylor Toolworks, MicroJig, SnapMaker, and TotalBoat. TotalBoat has been really nice. They actually also give a 5% discount when you click on the link for them. And then the other place that you're going to see things like this would be like in the epoxy resin calculator, brought to you by TotalBoat. It's just another way to bring it to the forefront, but hopefully elegantly, not something that you have to click on or something that is just kind of in the way. And also definitely not something that has nothing to do with woodworking. This is all going to be stuff that has to do with woodworking. Sponsors are going to be people that actually matter to me. Colin gave me a huge break. We talked back and forth after I emailed him. He loved the app. He did a little video including my app, and he helps get me this first big boost. So he will forever be my #1 sponsor at the top of the list for free. He's just an awesome guy. Please check out his YouTube page, Woodwork Web. Liberty Lumber over here in Coventry. Justin is another great guy. And then he's got a really great woodworking company. And then Cosella Lumber is just a place that I've been buying hardwoods for since I started, this whole woodworking journey about 6 years ago. She's got a lot of great stuff over there, also in Coventry. So if you're in Rhode Island, those two are helpful. In the future, I plan on, the more users I get, acquiring sponsors who actually pay to be on these page. But again, they have to be something related to woodworking or something that actually seems like it would matter. At the bottom, you have Help and Docs. This Help and Docs button is the exact same as hitting the question mark in the top. The privacy policy explains my whole philosophy and just explains our privacy policy. And then the backup your app data button is just front and center and highlighted to just remind you, hey, you should back up your data because you have to do it manually. If you don't do it, you lose anything you didn't back up. And that's just taking you to the settings page where that exists. About the maker is redundant. That's also just about the maker, just like we saw in settings. And that's pretty much a good overview of the app and everything going on. A little bit of information about how I think about the app, how I feel. And if you have any questions, send some comments, put some feedback in the app, let me know. Thanks and cheers.